My sister is calling me a monster for telling my own daughter the truth. My mother won't pick up my calls. And my husband, the man who adopted her, who tucked her in every single night for 9 years, he's sitting across from me at the kitchen table asking me if I've lost my mind. All because I answered a question my daughter asked me directly, to my face, in the middle of a Saturday afternoon. So I need you to tell me, am I the one who did something wrong here? Okay, let me give you the full picture because context matters a lot here. My daughter's name is Lily. She's 9. She is sharp, she is curious, she asks about everything, and I mean everything. Why is the sky blue? Why do some people speak different languages? Why do dogs dream? That's just who she is. We adopted Lily when she was 6 weeks old. Her biological father, a guy I dated briefly before I met my husband, Marcus, he signed over his rights without much fight. We did everything by the book, and Marcus has been her dad in every way that counts. Coaches her soccer team, does the voices when he reads to her at night, the whole thing. Now, we always planned to tell Lily she was adopted. Every adoption counselor, every book, every piece of advice we ever got said the same thing. Tell them early, normalize it, don't make it a secret. And we did tell her when she was 4. We kept it simple. We told her we chose her, that she grew in another lady's tummy, and that we loved her more than anything. She nodded, asked if she could have a snack, and that was sort of that. We figured we'd build on it as she got older and started asking more. Here's where my sister Renee comes in. Renee has strong opinions about everything, but she has especially strong opinions about Lily. She thinks Marcus and I have always been too honest with her, too open. She thinks kids need to be protected from complicated truths until they're, quote, ready. She actually told me once that we should have waited until Lily was a teenager to tell her about the adoption at all. We disagreed pretty fundamentally on that. But she's my sister, so we just kind of agreed to disagree and moved on. So, 3 weeks ago, Saturday afternoon, Lily and I are folding laundry, riveting, I know, and she looks up at me completely out of nowhere and says, Mom, do I have a different dad somewhere? Just like that, calm as anything. I felt my heart do this little stutter, but I kept my face even. I asked her what made her think about that. She said one of her friends at school had told her that when people are adopted, there's always a different dad, and that sometimes the kid looks like him and not like the mom's husband. And then she asked if she looked like Marcus or like somebody else. And I looked at her, this 9-year-old who trusts me completely, and I thought, I am not going to lie to her. I am not going to do the thing where I say, oh, sweetie, Marcus is your dad, and dodge the actual question, because she was asking something real and specific and she deserved a real answer. So I told her yes. I said yes before Marcus came into our lives. There was another man who helped make her, and that man chose not to be her father, but Marcus chose to be, and choosing is the more important part. She was quiet for a second, then she asked if she could meet him someday. And I told her honestly that I didn't know, but that we could talk about it when she was older if she still wanted to. She said okay, then she asked me if we had any of those little clementines left, and that was genuinely it. No tears, no crisis, just a kid getting an answer and moving forward. That evening I told Marcus what had happened, and that's when things got complicated. He didn't explode, Marcus doesn't do that, but his face went very still and he said, You told her about him, without us discussing it first? And I said it came up, she asked directly, I wasn't going to lie to our daughter. He said there was a difference between lying and waiting for a better moment, when we were both there, when we could handle it together. I heard what he was saying, I did, but I also stood there thinking, a better moment? She asked me, right then. What was I supposed to say, hold that thought for a family meeting? Then Renee found out Marcus called her, which, fine, and suddenly I'm getting a voice message that lasts 4 minutes. Renee telling me that I had destabilized Lily's sense of identity, that I acted unilaterally on something that affected our whole family, that Marcus is her father, and I essentially handed his role to a stranger in Lily's mind. She used the word reckless. Twice. And okay, here is the part where I have to be honest with myself and with you. I didn't just tell Lily that yes, there was a biological father. I also told her his first name. Not because she asked. She didn't ask. I just said it. It kind of came out, and I think I told myself in the moment it would make it feel more real to her, less abstract. But honestly, I don't fully know why I said it. It wasn't a decision I consciously made. It just happened. Marcus found that part out later. Lily mentioned the name at dinner like a week after, just casually in context. And Marcus looked at me across the table and I saw something shift in his face. He didn't say anything right then. He waited until Lily was in bed. And then he said, very quietly, she didn't need his name. She's 9. And I didn't have a great answer for that. My mom, when she finally called me back, said something that stuck in my head in a way I can't shake. She said, "Honey, the truth isn't always the same as the whole truth, and sometimes the timing of what you say is just as important as what you say." I pushed back. I said I refused to build my relationship with my daughter on omissions and careful silences. And my mom said, "That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that little girl didn't need his name. That was for you somehow, not for her." And I've been sitting with that ever since. Because I'm not sure she's entirely wrong. But I'm also not sure she's entirely right. Because Lily is going to be a teenager someday, and then an adult, and I have always believed that the worst thing I could do is make her feel like the truth about her own life was kept from her. A few weeks later, Lily came home from school and said one of her other friends was adopted too, and they'd talked about it, and she seemed genuinely fine. Settled, even, like it had just become a part of her story instead of a mystery at the edge of it. That made me feel vindicated. But Marcus said that's not really the point. The point is that we had agreed to do these conversations together as a family, and I broke that agreement in the moment. And he's not wrong about the agreement. We had talked about it more than once. So here's where I land, and I genuinely cannot tell if I'm defending something I actually believe or just defending myself because I don't want to be wrong. I believe my daughter deserved honesty. I believe secrets about identity corrode trust. I believe she asked me a real question and she deserved a real answer, not a stall. And I believe she is doing fine. But I also told her a name she didn't ask for. I made a split-second call in a conversation that Marcus and I had agreed to navigate together. And I don't have a clean explanation for why the name came out, which means I can't fully defend it. Marcus is still here. We're still talking. But there's this new careful quality to how we discuss anything about Lily, like we're both watching the other one for the next unilateral move. And I hate that. I hate that I might have created that. Renee hasn't apologized for the voicemail. I haven't apologized to Marcus, not fully, not for the name part. Lily asked me last week if Marcus chose her because he already loved her, or if he loved her because he chose her. And I said both, and she smiled and went back to her book. And I thought, this kid is going to be okay. But am I the one who handled this wrong? Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.